Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hit and Hustle from IRSportsDaily.com. I am your host, Greg Flamong, and with me, as always, is Jamie Ueyama, Jamie University. It is Tuesday, May 25th, Jamie? 25th or 23rd?
It's
25th.
yeah, it's
The
the
25th
25th.
is Thursday. Yeah, so it's the 23rd, May 23rd. And we are going to do another buy or sell, Jamie. You hit me up yesterday and you said, let's do buy or sell. And I said, let's do it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about recruiting. We're going to be talking about the 2023 football team. We're going to be talking about the Goog. We're going to be talking about the apparel, possible apparel deal that could be changing. So that's what we're going to be discussing today on today's show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If this is your first time listening to Hit and Hustle, make sure to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell, Jamie, so you know we're going live. And if you want to check us out in just audio form, you can hit us up on our YouTube, our podcast links. Podcast links are in the description below. What happened, Jamie?
Just Pops McGee.
Oh, Pops. Hi, Pops.
I don't care about the other sites. Just don't come with us with rumors, man. We can't. They're not stuff that we can actually answer. It's like we don't want to speculate on other people's speculation.
Right, we can't do that, and because we don't have we don't know where that speculation is coming from, right? So that's what it is. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And before we get started, Jamie, I was thinking there's a plane flying overhead, and that's really messing up my program. I live by an airport. What are you gonna do? But I was thinking, Jamie, what is your least favorite thing about dress shirts? Tell me, what is it?
They're uncomfortable.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
I think so. So I think I see where you're going with this.
Yes, because I don't like dress shirts usually, right? Like they're very itchy. They don't feel good, and it bothers me. I don't like it. But that's why everyone's got to check out ESQclothing.com because ESQ has the world's first bamboo shirt, Jamie. Bamboo dress shirt. And the thing about it, too, is we've talked about it before, but it feels good. It feels comfortable. You don't need to take it off. You can just keep wearing it, right? And when we the growth stains on the collar. That's true, Xander. And the thing about ESQ is like it doesn't have the top button, so it's not tight to the collar like that. So it's not meant to be worn with a tie. It's meant to be tieless, and that's what's nice about it, right? So and there's a lot of business. There's like the business community now is going very like business casual, right? Where it's like it's the dress shirt without the tie and the nice pants, right? And so that's ESQ is perfect for that, right? Because the people my wife works with, like she's business, and that sort of thing. And they're wearing these kind of shirts all the time. And this is a perfect fit for that. So head over to ESQclothing.com. Has stretch, machine washable, wrinkle resistant. You don't got it machine washable, like I said, so you don't have to pay up for the oh, I hear echo now. However you changed it, I hear the echo. So you don't have to pay for the dry cleaning, and that's really good. So head over to ESQclothing.com, upgrade your shirt game. All right, everybody. Let's talk about Logan Thomas. He has set a commitment date for the tomorrow at 2:45 Pacific, 5:45 Eastern, 4:45 Central, and I guess 3:45 Mountain. So if you've listened to Power Hour yesterday, you know that Notre Dame's Matt Freeman feels really good about Logan Thomas going to Notre Dame. He has an official visit set up for June 9th. How are we, Jamie? On the video, on the audio.
There's something going on. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. Matt feels good. I'll just get him out of here. All right. Matt feels good about Logan Thomas. He's got an official visit set up for June 9th. Okay. And it's the only one he set up. Right. And so Matt felt good about it. He mentioned on Power Hour yesterday, let's check out if Logan Thomas sets up some other visits or sets up other officials. Not only has he not done that, he set a commitment date. So he set it for tomorrow. And so I'm going to do a quick buy or sell on Logan Thomas committing to Notre Dame. And I'm going to buy it, right? I just think it given the way that kind of Matt feels about it. I think the way that he talked about it, I think the fact that he set a commitment date right after he visited Notre Dame, right before his official visit, he has only one official visit set up for Notre Dame. And so that's a great sign, right? When you are setting a commitment date and you have one visit set, and you are you're and it's to the school that you just visited, I think that's a great sign. I'm going to hang out here a little bit because when Jamie gets back, because we've got some film on Logan Thomas that we're going to run, and Jamie's going to talk about him a little bit. We haven't talked about him on the show yet. Let's see if Jamie's ready to go. Jamie, you good? Oh, hold on. It looks like Jamie's going to the AirPods. We're going AirPods on the show. The audio has been, it's, you know what? It's good though. It's the off season, Jamie. We're working out kinks on the audio for the show. I don't hear my feedback anymore, so that's good.
Okay. Can you hear
Right,
me?
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, I don't know what's going on here.
Buy or sell, Jamie. Logan Thomas committing to Notre Dame. I've bought.
I mean, I'm buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with this. Is there something to do with this other USB and this our StreamYard program for whatever?
You muted yourself.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm buying.
What we're doing is we're selling the audio right now, Jamie. We're selling. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Logan Thomas.
I'm obviously buying him to Notre Dame. You don't just take a multiple day visit on your own dime the second time in the last couple months to do that, and then have a decision date and then say, hey, I'm going somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So definitely buying him to Notre Dame. I buy him as a really good prospect. I think he's a guy who's exactly kind of what you want athletically there. Long. Here you just see him. He's in a 2-point kind of thing. And obviously, just the closing there. I don't think he's very good out of a 2-point. He's someone who needs to work a lot out of work on that in terms of his get off, and I just think his general snap anticipation. But you can see he's just a long, good athlete who can run, who can turn the corner. You see a lot more. I think the best stuff from him is later on when you see him play on the ball, rush the passer off the edge, and do some of that. That's what he's certainly best at. But you can see he's a high motor kid. Here he is on the ball, and I hate these kind of plays when you're seeing a guy unblocked just make a play I guess whatever, you're gonna put it on there, but I want to see a guy defeat a block. I want to see a guy be an athlete. I want to see something like that there, where a nice little push pull move for him, where he's getting off using his length. That's certainly stuff that I want to see from a kid like him. And he's going to be a Viper. So a perfect fit there, in a need position for them, right? They already got Mullins, who's another guy who can play Viper. They have some, Malachi Williams is another guy that projects the Viper too. And they really need depth there. And then the thing is too, is that when you're getting 2 Vipers, you're getting multiple Vipers, and not that Mullins could grow into a strong side end too. You're just getting pass rushers is the way to see it, because Justin Admiral was also a Viper, right? But he played and started with Foskey, right? Speed to power right there. That's what you just love to see, right? That's turn the corner, things like that. But you want to just get guys because you want to win on third down. And this is how you win on third down, with guys like this, right? Guys who can get off the ball like this, play with power. I think he needs a lot of physical development. That's going to be his big thing. He's going to have to take a jump with his physical development. And I thought too, he got better at, towards the end of his junior season, and that's always something that you like to see. Dominated at the All-American Combine. That's always good. But really, he's someone that I think you see, like, he's a low 4-star kid right now, but you could see him take a big jump up as a senior as he kind of physically develops. Obviously, he's already kind of made a leap during the off season, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I do that. And the other thing is he's like got big time athletic testing, right? Like he's he's an over he's 31.5-inch vertical. I saw some things where he was like reporting he had like a 43-inch vertical, and then I was like, okay, that's not true. Like they screwed up. There's some differing things, but apparently like it's verified that he had like a 31.5. And I mean, if you're a 6'4", 215-pound kid and you got a 31.5-inch vertical, that's plenty more than you need, because you're trying to get him to be like, a high 30s guy by the time he leaves Notre Dame, right? And that's the thing. But so if you're over 30 right now, that's plenty of explosion right there, and you can see that on film.
Yeah, so he's out of Katy, Texas, goes to Pado High School. I think for a lot of people who are into the offer list, right? So he's got Georgia on there, he's got LSU on there, he's got Texas on there. So obviously a big time. I think Oklahoma's after him as well. So big time recruit. And so people like the offer list, and so that he kind of checks all those boxes. Has all the local offers that you want, has national offers, and he fits the need as being a Viper position. So that's important. And so we'll see, right? I think we both feel good about him entering the class tomorrow, but you never know. It's recruiting, so you're going to want to tune into his announcement tomorrow. Again, that's 5:45 Eastern time, 4:45 Central, 2:45 Pacific. So let's keep it on I guess the recruiting side of it and the defensive line side of it, right? So let's assume Logan Thomas enters the class tomorrow. They already have Cole Mullins. They already have Owen Wafel. They already have Bryce Young on the defensive line. So let's buy or sell Notre Dame landing Elijah Rushing and or Malachi Williams to the defensive line class, Jamie.
I think they're going to land at least one of these guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they land two. I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, Rushing is a guy that everybody wants. He's been to Notre Dame before. That's the thing. He didn't come in the spring, but he's been to Notre Dame before, so that's not a thing that he's not unfamiliar with Notre Dame. Obviously, Al Washington has been recruiting him pretty hard. I think he's like a Notre Dame fit in terms of the kind of kid that Notre Dame's looking for. And he's just an absolute elite prospect. Like, he's just long and explosive. Another guy took a huge, huge jump from his sophomore to his junior year, where you could see, like, he was this kind of, like, long, gangly kid as a sophomore, and you saw, like, the pieces there, but you saw it really kind of come together as a junior. And, man, this guy, like, he has everything about him screams like this guy has a chance to be a first-round pick one day, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's one of the top guys in the entire class. I think he's, like, a top 15 kid for me in the entire class. So I think that, obviously they're going to put the full court press with him, and people will say NIL and all that too. But I mean, I don't think, like, when it comes down to it, every Notre Dame will be competitive with whatever this kid wants and whatever he is going for. And I think that, you just got to win the recruitment. And that's what it's going to come down to. And I think Malachi Williams, too, was a guy that, like, no one kind of knew until he came on campus and he visited for the spring game. And he's another guy who's, like, just an elite pass rusher, super quick, twitchy, reactive athlete, awesome motor. And I think that's a guy that, they got to close with him. But, I mean, if I'm going to buy anything, I'm going to buy Al Washington as a recruiter. Like, I think he is done a fantastic job as a recruiter. He connects with the kids extremely, extremely well. And that's what he's kind of always been about, like, wherever he's been. So I think that Notre Dame is ultimately going to land at least one of these guys. I mean, if they land two, like we talked about on Power Hour, like, you take them both and you just whatever, then you have an embarrassment of riches at defensive end, really.
Yeah. So let's do the math here. So there's Notre Dame has Wafel in the class right now. So that's Wafel, that's Bryce Young, Cole Mullins. Am I missing somebody? Why do I feel like I'm missing somebody? I just
Bryce Young?
named him off. Bryce Young. Yeah. So that's 4. And then you have, if Logan Thomas comes, that's 5, right? So Elijah Rushing and Malachi Williams, like you land both of them, that would be 7. And so where does that leave someone like Justin Scott, where it's like,
Well, I
you're
think
gonna
they take him anyways.
You'd say you think buy or sell. Okay, buy or sell. I didn't put this on here. Buy or sell. Notre Dame is willing to take 8 defensive linemen in this class.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if it's those guys, then yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you did say on Power Hour take 8 before you take like 5 offensive linemen.
Yeah, it's not.
So that's where you get the number
line. From. There's like, if that's what you do at offensive line, you're going to end up recruiting over them. I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I see it. They don't have as many. There's going to be guys who just fall by the wayside. Like, yeah, maybe I guess you have more chances to hit when you take a bunch of guys there, but like, it's better that you invest into just who you can get and then go from there, right? Like, I just think if you even compared it to whether or not you were going to say like, people like Kirby Lambert's a good prospect, but I mean, he's not in the same class as these guys, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So, he's in tier below. So if you're going to say, what would you take? What's going to help build your roster the best? I'd be like, I take those guys. Those guys. I mean, if it came down to it, if you're coming down to, but then also too, I just think you just take as many of those high level kids as you can get, and you don't know how this thing's going to play out. Like, guys decommit all the time. Obviously, like Notre Dame, I think last year Notre Dame learned a lot from what was going on with Peyton Bowen. And I mean, even certainly to the extent that they were doing it at running back too. So I think that you have to, you got to be aggressive and take as many guys as you want. And Xander pointed out that maybe you double counted Young, so maybe it's 7, whatever. But I think whatever you could take. I mean, 7. I think 6 or 7 is kind of what I expect them to take in the class. The one thing I'll say though is at defensive tackle, don't just take a guy. Like, don't just take a guy at that spot, because that's how you end up with a guy who's just a sloth who ends up never playing because he can't play anything else, right?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you can get a guy who's like and you're like, okay, well, maybe we can make him into a tackle. Like, he's gonna blow up and become a tackle, whatever. If a guy, whatever, then it's like, what is he gonna go move to guard or whatever? It's like, well, that doesn't work for Notre Dame because of the way they recruit the offensive line, right? So that's how like Darnell Ewell becomes like a nothing, right? Like, that's how like guys like Brandon Tiassum, whatever, get completely lost in the shuffle, right? So I don't think with the guys that Notre Dame's recruiting, like, if some other elite defensive tackle came along, get him. But it's like, I almost think at defensive tackle it would be like Justin Scott or bust to go with Waffle, because the class they just signed is more heavy towards guys who can play inside.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at like the playoff, right? Like Georgia, they don't have look at their wideouts, right? They don't have like great wide receivers or anything like that. They obviously didn't have a great quarterback. The thing that Georgia always has is like they have that front. They have that defensive front every time. Alabama, same thing. Like Alabama, like they score a bunch of points, but their defensive line is always the constant. Like they always have a strong defensive front, like every single time.
Yeah.
Clemson in 2018, they killed Notre Dame because their front 4 were amazing, right? It's just across the board. Michigan, right? Michigan, they make their runs because their defensive front is awesome, and that's just, it makes a big deal. Or it is a big deal. So I think Notre Dame, that's where it's like load up on those guys. Because look, if you're going to take 7, they're not all going to hit. Someone's going to leave, but like, it's like you have to take those swings, right? Like you have to get as many swings as possible. And Rajon is asking, what's the cap on total commits Notre Dame might take? Like 30, like 31, like, because you take them, because like you had players leave. Lorenzo Styles left for really no good reason. And other than he just wanted to go somewhere else, right? And same thing with Logan Diggs. What is Logan Diggs? Like, you can't predict that. He came to Notre Dame. He played early, had a big role as a sophomore, and now he's off the team. He wanted to go somewhere else. Like, when that stuff's going on, you just can't, like, scholarship numbers now are just like a myth. It almost doesn't matter because the movement is so. The only thing predictable about it is that you know it's going to happen, but you don't know who and you don't know for what reason, right?
Yeah.
You try to keep guys on the program, but it's like you just know it's not going to happen. Someone's going to leave that you don't want to leave, and that's just the nature of it. You have to just oversign every single time now. Like, that's just a product of the environment that college football finds itself in. So take him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm fully on board with Jamie said. Like, Justin Scott wants to come and you have 6, take him, right? If Benedict Ume wants to come and you have 7, take him. Like, just take him. You know,
I wouldn't push with Ume. I just think Ume he's fine. But
well, it's someone they like.
Ume would be further down the list for me. But yeah,
someone that they like, whoever it might be.
Yeah. But that's just my opinion. I just kind of think he's he's a bit of a tweener. He's a bit stiff. He's definitely going to be an inside guy. He's not going to can't play end. And I don't know. And then I also saw some of like the film that Christian saw him in person, and just some stuff there that I didn't like in terms of just flexibility and tight. He was tight. So that's something there. But I also want to just mention this just to kind of show you, like, so Georgia in 2022 to 2023, so last 4 recruiting classes, 16 blue chips on the D line, right? Alabama 20. That's not a typo. 20, right? That's LSU 11, Penn State 10, Ohio State 14, Notre Dame 8, right? And obviously 5 are in the last 2 classes, and then you could throw in Burnham and Tui Halamaku, who were ranked as linebackers, right? And now those are guys. So then all of a sudden that goes up to 10, whatever, right? But I just think that, you know, they need to catch up. So catch up as many as you can. If it's a strong class, and I think it is, grab them. Get as many as you can.
Keep it on the recruiting theme. Last buy or sell on that. The 2024 class will end up with a higher ranked class than 2023. What do you think, Jamie? Given where it's all going.
I think it'll probably be maybe slightly lower, around the same is my guess. Like, I do think they are going to close on some of these, higher ranked guys right now. So I think that is going to help their ranking.
Who are you thinking? So you're thinking of rushing?
Oh, like Kingston, William, Like, I just today, I just think that he's Notre Dame is going to close on him. Like, they might not. Like, obviously they could go over here and then it would be not good, right? But like, I think they're going to get a decent combination of, KVA, rushing, Malachi Williams, et cetera. Like, I think they're going to, Justin Scott, whatever. Like, I don't think that will they land all those guys? Probably not, right? Probably not, but they'll land their share of them. And then I think that ultimately too, there's going to be guys who rise up. Like, Isaiah Canyon's going to rise up a lot.
Yeah.
He's going to rise up a lot. Like, I think people are like, what? How come he hasn't rise up? Who cares? Let him play his senior year and then he can rise up. Like, it doesn't matter. And no shots at 24/7. They just put an update, whatever. That's fine. They do an update, whatever. But like, none of it really matters until, they're going to put pads on again. So it's like you're adjusting and you're tweaking it and it's fine, but you have to go and then you reevaluate when you see film and see where these guys are at. Like, so, guys like Bryce Young and Isaiah Canyon for sure are going to move up. Like, those are 100%. Like, I will be shocked if Cole Mullins doesn't move up, right? He's probably not going to be like a top 100 guy, but I think he's going to end up as a 4-star.
Yeah.
there's guys like that. So you see and someone like, so Aeneas Williams, he dropped out of their 250 or whatever, right? Like, who cares? He's a good player. Like, he's going to be a 4-star kid, but he's always going to be that, because he's not like, he's just a better player than he is like a physical specimen, right? So that's kind of where he's at. And like, I mean, Jack Larson is not going to, I mean, of course he was going to drop, but like, I don't think, like, people were saying, like, comparing him to Nickel, the tight end that Notre Dame kind of parted ways with or whatever. A couple years ago, he is a much better prospect than him. And if anyone who's seen Larson in person, like you, like at like Invasion last year, he's a dude. Like he's, I don't know if maybe I mean, I don't think he's been going to camps and doing a lot of stuff or whatever, but like, he's a good player. Like, he's really good. Like, I was shocked how much I liked him in person.
Yeah.
So, so I think there's guys who will move up, things will fluctuate or whatever, and then I think they're gonna close well enough that it'll end up being pretty similar.
I mean, just for reference, like their final composite last year on 247 was 12. You know, like we're actually not. Yeah. It's not like that hot of a take, frankly. Like it really. I
think they'll be like around top 10.
I think it feels different because they had, like, at this point last year, there was like Dante Moore. Like, they had so many names like that. Dante Moore, they had Peyton Bowen, they had Keon Keeley. Like, those are all 5-stars, right? Like,
yeah.
And so there's none of that juice this year, which is weird because like Cam Williams is like awesome. And I think the CJ Carr thing is like he's really being brought down by like the one service, like with On 3. Like, he's really being brought down by them right now.
Yeah.
I think if they shift for whatever reason, they're going to be an outlier, and that's fine. But if they shift their opinion of him, then he'll shoot up the rankings too, which helps. I mean, we're just talking about a ranking conversation. It has really nothing to do with the quality of the class overall.
Yeah.
So like wherever they end up, if you end up with like 6-7 defensive linemen who we all think are really good, like that's better than last year's haul, where it's like it's just like having extra numbers, right? Like imagine having like 3 more Brennan Vernon types. You know what I mean? Like that kind of pushes the class up in my mind. Mike wants to be totally transparent, Jamie. So we're going to be totally transparent.
All right, Mike.
Do we think Justin Scott commits to Miami? What do you think? Buy or sell, Justin Scott commits to Miami?
I really don't know. I don't know. I mean, hold would be my thing. Like, I just, whatever. I just think that he's going to be a guy who's, until he does it, you don't know. Like, I mean, sure, Miami feels great right now. I mean, they probably feel great right now. He's not committed to them.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame felt really good. He didn't commit to them. So let's see what happens. Like, he's still going to take all these visits. I think if he comes, like, so there's the thing where he's going to take these 4 officials, and then he's looking at taking an official for the Ohio State game, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, if he's not committed if he doesn't commit to Miami after the summer, it's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't even say like, oh, I feel good about Notre Dame then. I'm just feel like, well, I feel like I feel now. Like, it's just the same. I just think he's someone who I think it's good because he hasn't declared and doesn't seem sure. So don't commit. Don't commit anywhere. And if he does, whatever, like I mean, maybe that means he really wants them because he seems to have like kind of went back and he's taken a decent amount of visits now too. But I don't know. And then and a lot of times too, if like some guy wants Miami, it's like, it's pretty different than Notre Dame. So maybe that's just what he wants.
Yeah. So being totally transparent, I don't know about the Miami piece. I'm skeptical that he will end up in Notre Dame's class. And
yeah, I think only somewhere.
Yeah. It only has
Yeah.
to do with the factual behavior of it, right? He was going, like, it was February, I think it was, where it's like he's gonna set a commitment date, and it's gonna be Notre Dame, and then he didn't, and then he came to Notre Dame and was loving it and was like, I'm gonna be back for the spring game. Didn't show up to the spring game, and now he's talking about, or we're hearing kind of like, I don't know if he needs to take an official. Like, that's red flaggy to me. So it has nothing to do with Justin Scott. I don't know him. I don't know his situation. I don't
Sounds
know.
an awful like Dante Moore.
It's just that sort of
I don't know
sort
if he
of
needs to come back to
trend.
visit. That part sounds like that. Yeah.
That sort of trend lends itself to not working out for Notre Dame. Just in my experience following recruiting, it doesn't. So this is not anything against Justin Scott, or I'm not saying that it's a character thing on his part, right? I'm just saying the factual, the way that it's gone, it just lends itself, in the past, it has lent itself against Notre Dame. But we'll see, right? Well, I don't know. Every kid is different, right? Everyone's not the same, and he shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, here's two guys in the same class, both, elite prospects, Aaron Lynch and Stephon Tuitt.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody knows what happened with Aaron Lynch in terms of his recruitment, and then how he flipped to Florida State, and then they got the kind of last minute flip back. It was like really last minute, and then all of a sudden he's an early enrollee, whatever. All the stuff that happened with him there. Stephon Tuitt, Georgia flipped to Georgia Tech. I think people kind of forget about it because it was like very brief, right?
Yeah.
But flipped, and then, flipped back. And sometimes people are like, oh man, this kid's a flake, whatever. I think he turned out pretty well. Like he did pretty well at Notre Dame. So you just don't know. You just don't know. And I think it's, these are young kids. It's tough, man. They got people pulling them in all directions. I don't know what's in Justin Scott's head from day to day. And I don't know. Like, it could go anyway is why. So I wouldn't be like, so if I'm being totally transparent with Mike, I have no idea.
Yeah. No idea. All right. Let's sort of recruiting adjacent, I guess, is a way to put it. And overall, the Notre Dame football program, buy or sell, changes will be announced to the Goog prior to 2024. So announced, okay, not made, announced.
Okay.
So this whole year, 2024 season starting. Let's put it like that. So
before the start of the 24 season. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm talking like August 2024. Before then, there will be changes announced to the Guglielmo complex by then. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy that. That'll be before the 2024 season. If you said 2024 like January, then I'd be like, I don't know, like, because I think there's a lot more focus on other things right now. And then one thing you have to remember too, the apparel deal's coming up, which I know we'll get into, whatever. The apparel deal's coming up. The NBC contract's coming up. There's a lot of moving parts there. I think that kind of stuff kind of needs to get figured out before they, I'm not saying that maybe they haven't talked about this or whatever, but it's like, if you kind of get all those things figured out, and then you get like your future figured out in terms of, you got a set plan in place in terms of like, well, we're going to be able to stay independent and all this, because that television contract is going to be huge in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to basically determine whether or not, like, if they don't get what they want, like, they might as well just go to the Big Ten, right? Like, then really, because so we'll see what happens there, but like, it's going to cost a lot of money to do improvements to the Goog and stuff too. So I think probably by 2024, the actual 2024, like January, I think we'll probably have a lot more detail on the kind of like where apparel and where the media contract is going, and then that gives like more of a runway for the thing. So yeah, I'll buy it.
Okay, I'm gonna sell for a couple of reasons. One, I think that so Notre Dame has to get the fundraising for it first of all, right? They've been
they
burned
don't
in the
do
past.
anything. They don't announce anything until they get the money for it.
Yeah, the money has to be in first. So in the past, they've announced it, and it's like we'll fundraise later, and they've been burned by that. And so I don't think they're going to go. So there's one. For two, they're probably hitting up donors now. So NIL makes a big difference now because they're hitting them up for money on like multiple fronts now, you know? And so that's kind of a little bit different as well. Like you can't just keep hitting the well for that, right? Like people, it's like I'll finance one thing, but am I going to finance like multiple things like that? So there's that part of it too. And so that's why I think your point about waiting for the contracts and whether it's the apparel and whether it's because if it's, and so it all kind of blends because if the apparel deal comes with an NIL type of NIL type of add-on, well then that relieves pressure from donors and then their money can be distributed to other things. The other part too is I think that because Brian Kelly made it such a big deal and is now a talking point within the fan base, it's almost like it's kind of like a sore thumb. Like it's almost out of spite. They're like, we're not gonna give in to your little narrative about the Goog, right? Like the Goog is fine. We're gonna do other stuff. I don't think that's like a conscious thing, but I think subconsciously it's like kind of there. Like, don't stop bugging me about the Goog. Like I'm not. It's almost like capitulating to the rabid fans about the Goog at this point. I think they'll eventually do it, but right now it's a little bit too soon. And so kind of that. So I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to wait a little bit longer. But I mean, you know, look, if they do well with the apparel deal, what they do well with the TV contract, if they do well with NIL and that sort of thing, then it probably becomes less of a big
Here's the other
point
thing.
anyway.
This is the other thing. Notre Dame has a great season.
Mm-hmm.
100% they will get the money for the Goog before then.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine. If Notre Dame goes 12-1, you know, they end up 12-1 and just whatever, they're going to get that money before then. And it'll be announced. If they go 10-3, maybe, but probably not. Like, I think that's part of it. It's like, because you got to remember, people are investing in what they think the program is going to be under Marcus Freeman. That's part of it for sure.
Yeah. Rajon's asking the number one need in the Goog, whether it's a training table. I think the number one need is like 5 different things. Like it has to have all those things. Like it just has to be up to date, period, in a number of different ways, right? Like nutrition, study, places to study, having a kitchen in there, like all those things. Like just it's not up to date, right? It was built in what 05, 04, something like that. It's not up to date. It's out of date, period. It needs to be renovated in a number of different ways. All right, kind of keeping on the same thing in terms of changes to the administration. Buy or sell, Notre Dame moves on from Under Armour.
I'm gonna buy. I just don't think that, like, I just don't. It would just be such a bad PR move to stay with Under Armour.
Yeah,
and I don't think they've gotten good ROI, right? Like they haven't got. The stock has not, you know, paid off for them. To reinvest in Under Armour seems like a gigantic mistake. And unless it's just like Jack Swarbrick, like doubling down, being like, this was a great move. It was like, I just can't see it. And I don't think he'll do that. I think they'll go somewhere else, probably Nike.
Unfortunately, I'm selling. I just think they're going to do the easiest thing. They have a previous relationship. That's just what I think. I wish I didn't. And maybe I'm trying to like jinx it in a way to where it's like I'm I'm being pessimistic, and so that I could be proven wrong, because that would be great. You know how I feel about Nike. I love Nike. But I think Under Armour will give them the things that they want that Nike won't, because they don't need to. You know,
Like what?
Like the NIL stuff, like stuff like that.
Like what NIL stuff?
Well, like
what are you
they'll
talking
support the team through NIL, the athletes or something like that.
I mean, what are they giving through that? Like, I don't
think they're
like,
giving anything right now. I don't think they're giving anything.
I don't think they're going to do it, because that would be bad deal for Under Armour. They're going to invest in like a bunch of guys.
I think Under Armour needs
buy the stuff for.
I think Under Armour needs Notre Dame. That's what I think.
Yeah, they do. They really need Notre Dame, but I mean, Notre Dame doesn't need Under Armour, so it's like Under Armour's got to make like a bad deal to stay with Notre Dame. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't see I just don't see it working out, like, because of that. Like, I don't think like, I think it's going to be, it would end up being a horrible deal for both sides.
So Ga is here. Thank you, Ga. No, it's good. It's a good point, Ga. Thank you. Transparently, kids of ADs work at Under Armour. So Jack Swarbrick's son is an employee at Under Armour.
Yeah.
Now I've heard this
before. Aware of that.
I've heard this before, and I don't really I don't buy, like, I guess, that conspiracy, to call it that. I don't know what else to call it. It's not a conspiracy.
It is a thing.
It is a thing, but I don't think that he is high up enough in the company to, like, he's a manager of like social media or something. Like, he's in charge of director of social media.
Yeah, but it's because you want your kid to be the VP one day. Like, there's a lot of like back scratching going on at this.
Yeah,
you know how this stuff works.
I do. I just don't think like your son is not going to be able to advance in our company, because, like, I just think he can be a VP, like, kind of a lot of places. It doesn't have to be at Under Armour, you know. Like, to me, it's just like the deal is.
I hope it's not at Under Armour.
Like, the deal is like hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. Like, it's a huge deal, and it's like his.
He will get. I mean, that's another reason he would get ripped, because of that. People will say this, right? People will point that out. And
yeah,
because they'll be like, this isn't a good deal. Like, so, which means it, I mean, what God pointed out is correct. Like, that is a reason why it points in that direction. But it's like, I just think that
it could also be a reason why it goes the other way. Cause, like, you don't want that appearance of a conflict of interest, right? Like, that's another
That's
one.
not how it works. They were like, oh, hey, like, just, yeah, like they want to help each other out.
I'll tell you what, if Notre Dame re-ups with Under Armour, I will make it a thing, you know, because, like, look at it's like,
no,
you said,
it will be
the
a thing.
gear
It
is
will
worse.
Be a thing.
The gear is worse. It's a performance issue. Their stuff is not as good. The shoes are not as good. You need shoes.
Yeah.
Across sports, you need shoes to play in sports. That's what I read. Unless they're swimmers, in which case maybe you can stay with Under Armour.
I would say it's probably worse for every sport.
Yeah. So that's no good. That's no good.
No,
maybe it's
lacrosse,
not.
I think lacrosse, they're good.
Okay.
So
lacrosse is good.
To not want to discounting lacrosse, because I think UA is pretty heavy into lacrosse, but I mean, I don't think you should prioritize the lacrosse over football and basketball, which make you a lot more money.
All right. I'm going to write this up and then put it up here. This is regarding the 2023 football team. All right. Buy or sell. There is a Ben Morrison type coming in the summer. So of the summer recruits that are coming in who have not enrolled early, there is a Ben Morrison type player in that group. Buy or sell, Jamie.
So, and that's specifically for this year, right? Like, someone's going to have a Ben Morrison type of impact. You're talking about as a freshman?
Yeah. So, like, Ben Morrison, Kyle Hamilton, Michael Mayer, Joe Alt type.
I mean, that has been the way it's gone. So I think you would say that, you know, probably. But I just think with kind of where the guys that are that are coming, it would have to be like Jeremiah Love, pretty much. Like, because Jagusa, like, I think could have been maybe the guy who was the rare guy who came in and was like, wow, he's just so, like, such a physical stud that whatever, but he's still kind of recovering.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be ready, right? To really, like, I don't see him being ready to push for it. And then, I mean, the rest of the guys that I think, I think we talked about it in some Power Hour too, where it's like the defensive linemen, one, a lot of those guys need to develop, but the other thing is, like, there just isn't really like a room for one of those guys. Like, you just have to be just so exceptional. And it's not like there's a 5-star kid coming in. So I think it's either got to be Jeremiah Love or it's got to be like Micah Bell as a returner.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the options. So I would say sell with the caveat that Love, if I had to pick one, Jeremiah Love would be my pick.
Yeah. I think Micah Bell is intriguing because I was talking to Sean Crawford about the nickel position.
Yes, and the running back nickel thing. I thought that was a good conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. It just kind of occurred to me as I was talking to him, and so there's a correlation between nickel players at Notre Dame being running backs in high school. So like Julian Love was a running back. Sean Crawford played running back. Tariq Bracy played running back, right? So there's the best nickels at Notre Dame have played running back on offense, and Micah Bell also plays a ton of running back in high school. So that'll be interesting to kind of monitor. I feel like, and we talked about it on the previous show.
For Bell was Sean Crawford.
There you go, right there. Yeah. That would bode well. The only thing is like, I feel like we're always talking about, oh, this guy's going to come in as like a returner now. I'm thinking, there we say this guy's going to be a returner, and they never do it, and I don't understand why that is.
CJ Sanders, the last one.
The CJ Sanders was the last one, and everyone else is just kind of like, yeah, he's going to come in, he's going to be the punt returner day one, and then they don't ever. So. But maybe Micah Bell will change the trend there. Okay, Jamie. Next one. I didn't write this down. I'm a bum. Buy or sell. I'm gonna put it up. Buy or sell. Notre Dame sets a school record for points per game in 2023.
I'm selling this. I don't think that they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna set a record for.
So basically, 39 points will get them. We'll get them there.
I don't think they're going to score 39 points a game. I think they'll score, mid to high 30s probably. It would be my guess, but I don't think they're going to score. Like, I don't think they're scoring 40 points a game. I just don't think, especially because even though, they have Hartman, I think they definitely. They have questions at receiver, and they need some guys to step up, and they could, but the mentality is still going to be like, they're still going to do a lot of 4-minute offense in the fourth quarter to close out games.
Yeah.
And that's just not the mentality to score 40 points a game. So I don't know. I don't see it. And then plus the fact that they play, I just don't see them getting into like a shootout with Ohio State. I think they're going to play kind of similarly to what they did last year against them in terms of like how they approach that. So, and then I think like with Clemson, I don't see that going to be like a 40 point. They're dropping 40 that game, or like high, like, and USC, I could see them like. They might drop 50 on USC.
I was going to say they're definitely going to get in a shootout with USC because that's how their games are.
That's.
I think Clemson too. I think there's enough, poor teams on the schedule to where it could happen. I'm gonna buy it. Just because I think Sam Hartman will change attitudes about how they want to go about offense. That's what I think. And I think Jared Parker, I think he likes to throw the ball. I do. I just think he does. I think when it's like, oh, we could run it, or we could throw with with Sam Hartman. That's really fun. So that's what I think. That's his prediction, and I don't know that for sure. I wish I would just be a lot more confident if like Styles and Caleb Smith were actually like things, and they're not.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of pause, but I'm gonna stick to it. Okay, buy or sell. Jalen Sneed, starter by October. Jamie, you proposed this one, so what is your take?
I mean, I proposed it because I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to buy it.
Where is he starting?
I think he's going to start at either they are going to play more rover as their base, and he will be the starting rover.
Okay.
Or he will be the will linebacker. I think that's
okay. So he's taking the spot of Marist and Jack Kaiser in this case.
Yeah, because I think he's just going to make more plays and be better than them.
Okay.
That's just what that's I don't like. I mean, I guess it's ambitious to say this. I just think that ultimately he's going to be a guy that they can't keep off the field. So he's just going to, they'll live with kind of some growing pains with him because he will be too impactful. Yeah. So that's why I think that he's going to maybe not start day one. And I also think, that's the other thing about opening with Navy. Like, he could play a big role against Navy, or he could like barely play against Navy because just like it's different, right? But I think, when they start kind of getting into the heart of the schedule, I think he is going to be a starter for them.
I'm gonna buy too. I think he's gonna be the rover. I think Kaiser will move in to Will.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Kaiser's already moved inside. I know he's listed as a rover. People always talk about, well, he's a rover. He never played rover last year. So I just want to put that out because I see like a lot of people saying about like how, oh, Kaiser's the rover. I was like, well, now he's moving inside. I was like, yeah, he played inside all last year, guys.
Because they didn't really, like you said, they didn't really have a rover last year.
Yeah.
But I think that he's going to be like the will linebacker. Like, I think he's going to beat out Marist for the first kind of reps. I think Marist will get time, right? I just think, first of all, I think Kaiser has a chance to be a captain for one. And so it's hard to keep a captain off the field, and you wouldn't be a captain if you like a reserve. I don't think that would be the case. And so I think you said, I think Sneed's going to be the rover, or he's got like it. I was thinking of selling just because I don't know that he'll be a starter per se, but he'll be a starter in sub packages. So like he will have a defined role. It's kind of like Bracey, right? Like technically not a starter like sometimes, but
if he's not like I would count if he's like a 1B, like, at that spot where he's like getting like pretty much equal reps, I would count that as a starter.
Yeah. So like, it's kind of like splitting hairs a little bit. And again, I'm thinking about this in terms of like injuries aside, right? Because if someone gets hurt and he's pushed to starting, then okay. But I just think that he'll be the rover on the team. When they play rover or they have a rover on the field, Jalen Sneed's going to be the guy. That's what I think. That's how I just think it's going to go. I think they are invested in him. He was the first linebacker from the Marcus Freeman, like brought him in before he was head coach. Like he was Marcus Freeman's big land at linebacker. Like I think there's investment there. Like coaches always kind of feel that. They always feel that investment when it's like, you're my first, from my first class, that sort of thing. And plus I think he's good, right? Like he's obviously super talented and a really good player. So I think that's everything, Jim. I think that's everything we had. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we get going? Any buy or sells that you thought of while we were sitting here?
No, Nothing really. I think we covered a lot there.
Yeah.
Maybe the most ambitious to end it off with the Sneed one, but like, I just think he's, I think people could have said that about like Prince Colley last year, but I don't get the same feeling with Sneed that we're Sneed now that I had with Colley last year.
So Colley was, in my opinion, specifically
the response to
yes.
Yeah.
It was Colley was just like, hey, he won the Butkus in high school, and he's, he needs to come in and he's a great athlete, and look at all these things he did in high school. But like, he was never, you saw him on the field and it was like, wow, and Sneed, for as much as he didn't know what he was doing, as in the bowl game, especially, like, just kind of put him out there and it's like, go kind of wrist passer. Like, you could just see him moving around and it's like, damn, that's a dude, and even in like the goofy mop-up time that he got against Boston College, like, that was like, he's running around, like flying around in the snow, like laying people out when it's like, maybe you shouldn't be laying people out kind of thing. But like, he's got that kind of mentality where it's like, I'm going crazy, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to lay out people and I don't care what the situation is. And so I think when you watch him, it's like, there's something there. Right. And I never really thought that with Colley. Like, I just didn't. And I don't think the coaches did either. And that's why he's moved on to another program. So that's kind of my thought.
I also too, I think you look at that bowl game, they like specifically were like, we got to get Sneed on the field. And they didn't, was not their approach with Colley.
Right. They created a role for him. He wasn't a rover in that game. He was literally just they put him in pass rusher.
They're like, hey, just go out here and rush the passer.
Yeah. Yeah, go be a guy. And so look, when the coaches are inventing roles, that usually goes well.
That usually means they're pretty big believers in your talent.
Invested. It's like, it's nice to see. I mean, look, at same thing with Jordan Botelho, right? They have done that in the past. Like, they have created roles for him because they need to get him out there. So.
Yeah, move a guy around. They try to get the guy in the field. Yep.
All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. You're gonna want to stay tuned for the again, the announcement of Logan Thomas tomorrow. That's 5:45 Eastern time. Stay tuned for that. And see if he commits and adds to the class. We'll be back on Thursday talking about various things. Maybe we'll talk about Logan Thomas and all those things. And we'll come up with a fun show for you guys. Maybe we'll do a hot take. Maybe it's like a buy or sell, like maybe a hot take show. Hot take Thursday, Jamie. We'll just go in that direction. So thank you everyone one more time for tuning in. If this is your first time, hit the like, hit the subscribe, please. We're right there on 6,000 subscribers. We want to hit 6,000 subscribers. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your parents, tell your sisters, tell your brothers, tell everyone to check out Hit and Hustle on irishsportsdaily.com YouTube channel. All right, everyone, have a good rest of the day, and we will talk to you on Thursday.